TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Welcome to the Morning Digest Show, where we discuss leadership matters. I am happy and delighted that you could join us from wherever you are watching us from. Even as we continue to have these great conversations that we have on this platform, bringing dynamic guests, who share with us great insights on leadership from different perspectives. And today I am your host, standing in for Apostle Patrick Mureithi, my co-host who is not here today. My name's Reverend Albert Shitakwa, and I'm happy to be the one hosting the show today. And I have the privilege of again having my good friend Kingston Ogango from Alpha Africa here with us, taking us through the conversation we're going to have today. And we're going to be talking about staying the course. That's what we're going to talk about in respect to, finishing strong. Last time I was with Kingston here, we had a good conversation about finishing strong. And I thought it would be nice for us to pick it up and just continue to push this conversation forward as we talk about then how do you stay the course. And so, Karibu Kingston.
Thank you so much.
Lovely to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I think it was bound to happen sooner.
It's a delight to be here. Yes.
All right. How have you been?
It's been good. It's been busy, but all good. I'm just grateful to the Lord for the opportunity to serve.
You are staying the course.
I'm staying the course.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked last time about finishing strong.
Yes.
And, we had a very interesting conversation around the need to finish strong.
Yes.
And of course, now we want to push it further and then begin to discuss how you can do that.
Yes.
But then, do you have some thoughts on, for the sake of someone who probably never watched that particular show,
Yes.
that you could just touch on a little?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we said finishing strong is an aspect of starting strong. Because a lot of times we want to finish strong, but we don't start strong. But nevertheless, sometimes we don't start strong. But the important thing is that you must focus on how you will go and end.
Yes.
You know, the Bible says the end of a matter is more important than the beginning. But there must be steps of picking up. So whether you faltered in the beginning, where you fell down, or whatever happened in the beginning, how do you rise up? What we call falling forward, rising up, dusting yourself, and staying focused to run the race to the end. And the idea is you must end the race and end it well.
So whether you, of course, starting strong is a head start.
Yes.
But whether you started strong,
Yes.
or you didn't start strong,
Yes.
the key thing is finish strong.
It's finished strong.
It's not all lost.
It's not all lost, because sometimes people give up because I didn't start strong.
Yeah.
But if you look at a race, a lot of times when you look at some of these races, some people they stumble in the beginning, but because they're focused on the goal, they pick up. And even those who went ahead of them, they actually pass them and win the race. So the idea is you don't get distracted because you have started badly or you've started on a weak point. How do you keep the momentum and carry on with focus to the end?
Actually, when you say that, I remember I saw a video online one time, and I'm sure guys have probably seen that, where this girl fell during the race.
Yes.
And, you know, I think it was, they were going around 400 meters or something.
Yeah.
And so this girl fell and picked up herself and ran and outran. Everybody else was in front of her because of the fall. But she ran, kept passing one after the other until she passed the one who was ahead.
Yes.
And, you know, it was exciting to watch that.
Yeah.
But then I asked myself, you know, I'm analytical sometimes, I keep thinking. So I asked myself, was it that she's that fast?
Yes.
Or was it a mental thing, strength? Something happened in her mind that that made her push herself harder than she would have if she didn't have that fall.
Very true. And you know, there's a verse that is very instructive, Ecclesiastes 9:11. The race is not to the strong, neither the battle to the strong.
The race is not to the
swift, neither the battle to the strong. And sometimes, you know, fast people don't finish. Strong people don't finish their battles. So it is the ones who are strategic. In fact, sometimes I like watching reality shows.
Yes.
And some of these reality shows, when you see people getting into this race, the ones who look weakest are always the ones who win the game, because they have a mental framework. They have a strategy of getting to the end.
Yes.
And the ones who look strong, who are bodybuilders, who are doing everything, lifting everything, after a few sessions, they've fallen out because their strength has burnt out and everything has gone. And so that strategy, if you look at a long distance runner, it helps you see that. You know, those who pace themselves well, because they keep energy for the finishing line.
Yes.
And so towards the end, they pick up all energy and just rest to the end. And those who've started very strong now have lost the steam. They're falling back. So I think it's the same in the rest of life, that finishing strong is not necessarily determined by how you start. You may start strong, it gives you an advantage, but sometimes you don't start strong. But nevertheless, you must focus on how you're going to finish. And so what you do after, either your fall or your faltering, is what matters. And I guess that's what part of what we talk about today.
So, staying the course.
Yes.
What does it actually mean
to
stay the course?
So staying the course is actually a term that is from the shipping industry and from what they call the nautical term, where it says staying in the direction of where you go. And it was also popularized a lot within the military, where, you know, when you begin battle, you have to stay the course. And some presidents like H.W. Bush and others use these terms a lot to motivate times of war to please stay focused until you go. So it doesn't matter what happens. And in the rest of life, in the rest of leadership, there'll be distractions, things that come to distract you. There'll be detours. Sometimes you're going on this and you find an obstacle, you have to change your course, but you always remember that where you are going, the destination was the important part. And so even though you detour, find your direction again, finding the course and staying on the course until you finish, because the course talks about purpose. It talks about the end goal,
the vision, purpose,
the destination, so that then you're not changing the direction may change, but the destination must remain the same. So that even if you're detoured, even though there's a distraction, there's an obstacle, you have to surmount the obstacle and go to the end, because you must end and must end well. Yeah.
Now, when you speak to a leader in the journey of leadership, or in the art, whatever, responsibility of leadership. Are there particular unique things that kind of distract the leader from the course? That can be particular to leadership.
Yes.
that distract you from the course?
Yes, there's a lot of things that happen to leadership because one, we recognize leadership. While a lot of us admire leadership, leadership is not for the faint-hearted. Because there'll be many things that happen.
You can say that again and again.
Yeah, and so there are many things that come. First, there could be a mission drift. You began with a purpose. You had a very clear thing that you wanted to achieve. And in the distance as you go, in the traveling of your mission, other things that are come. Either they're enticing, or there are things that come to distract you and cause challenges and problems. And so those begin to shift the goal. Or you get into problems, and the problems become many, and they become challenging. And so you get caught up in the mix of the problem than staying focused on what you wanted to do. And so one of the bigger challenges is those things that keep coming, the distractions, the things that fall in your way. The other way is that when the vision is not clear, because you need a very clarified vision. When it's mud and it is hazy, then it is easy to follow somebody else because they come and begin to redefine your vision. And especially if you have people who are strong in your team, people who are vocal in your team, the extroverts, the big people who come, they begin to tell you how you're not traveling the right direction. And so your direction of travel must be clear because you have a clear vision. You see the end goal clearly, and then stay on that vision and that path so that your direction of travel is not pulled away. Because what happens is when you're working as a leader, when your things are going well, there'll be people who are attracted to it.
Yes.
But not everybody is attracted to support what you're doing.
No.
Some are attracted to pull you away from achieving your goal. And so you have to be very careful that you don't get distracted. One person, one leader I see as a very exemplifies this well is Nehemiah. When Nehemiah is set out to build the wall, there are many people who are coming. There are those who come to oppose him. Even priests come and tell him, let us go to the temple. But he says, I have a work to do. And he remained focused, and in 52 days, he constructed the wall. There were many things that should have pulled him away. If it was me and you, say, let's go to the temple. You say, oh, let me go and pray.
It sounded very spiritual.
Very spiritual, but it was a distraction. And it was going to take him away from the cause he had to build the wall. He had a focus to build that wall and complete it. And so that happens a lot of times for us as leaders. People will come, things will come. So if it's a pastor like you know, there's another new conference in town. A great speaker has come. Yet you had planned to help develop your leaders. So you forget those leaders. You now run to this conference, which you didn't have a plan for. By the time you try to come back, you've actually lost direction. And so those kind of things come a lot. But sometimes you can become discouraged. Because in the course of life, things will come and it could discourage you as a leader. And so when you get discouraged, you get caught up in the discouragement. You feel low, you feel you can't do it, you lack motivation, you don't want to go to where you are going again. And so that discouragement can pull you away totally from where you are going. And it is important that as you go through your journey, that always remember that things will come, discouragement will come. It's not if, it is when.
Is discouragement the place where you feel like you're running on empty?
Exactly. And so being able to get to a place, how do you refuel in that journey? Think about a plane, a long-haul plane. It must have a plan, how it will have enough fuel, flying from here to London, 8 hours, without stopping. Or it will have to detour, go through another city, refuel and get to the destination. So it's very important that even through that journey, that you always have a sense of, do I have enough to carry me through the journey? Or where will I take a pit stop so that I can fuel and get to the end? Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, you can join the conversation even as we discuss about staying the course, especially as leaders. What are some of the observations you have had on things that distract you from staying the course, or have distracted someone you would know from staying the course? And we could hear that, some of those thoughts, and share them in our social media pages on Facebook, on YouTube, and we'll be able to read them and look at them and even have a discussion around them. So contribute to this discussion through your social media pages, even as we continue with this conversation. Now, I like the fact that you've raised a number of things that could cause a leader to be distracted from the course. So now, maybe we can begin to flip it and now look at maybe each of these, and how do you then deal with them to stay on course?
So number one, just going back to what you said, have a clarity of vision. The why must be very clear, so that why have you taken this journey and where are you going? Make it clear, absolutely clear. Then once you've clarified that and it is clear that, then the second thing, you must be committed to it. Count the cost. Because every journey, you have to count the cost. Do you have enough resources to run the journey? Do you have enough resources to take you to that trip? So when you're going, have you worked on that? Have you counted the cost of where you're going and the journey you're taking? So that then you are not getting halfway and you're fainting.
Isn't that what Jesus actually said?
Yes.
He says, if you plan to build a house, sit down first. And, you know, count the cost. If you want to go to war, you know, and you're going to war with somebody with 10,000, and you have less, you sit down and count the cost, strategize. That's what Jesus alluded to.
Exactly.
So you've said, clarify the vision, and then count the cost.
And then there's commitment. Because, you know, you can count the cost. You know, you've seen people who check and they want to build, they have enough material. So they have a clear vision, they want to finish this house in a year's time. But they don't have the commitment to, because perhaps it requires you to go on site every week. But you only want to go there once every 6 months. So you will not be able to finish that house. So being committed to the journey you're beginning, so that when you know you want to finish strong, are you committed to keep going, even sometimes when you feel like you should be giving up?
And commitment here is not just a decision in the heart, it's your presence.
It's your presence, it's your resources, it is your time, it is your energy. Because, you know, sometimes we do things, but we're half-hearted. Your energy, your mind. So you have to have the presence of mind and say, it is getting difficult. It is hot to go on site. Or it is raining, but I must go. It is muddy, but I must go. So that commitment, where you are unwavering, you're staying and saying, I am committed to ensure this course, at the end of this year, I have this house done. So going irrespective of the weather, the vicissitudes, the challenges that are coming around you, and staying focused on, I have something to do, and being committed to that.
You know, now that you say that, I'm reminded years back. I had this from Bishop, I think David Oyedepo, once said that it doesn't matter where he is, which part of the world he is. On Sunday, he must be at his church. wherever he is
Yes.
on Sunday. So I was like, that's a level of commitment. Huh?
Yeah.
And so maybe how important is it for a minister, for example, to be present at where he's building?
Yes, and that's a very important thing. So I'm sure for Oyedepo, he must have counted the cost.
Yes.
What does it take to be present every Sunday?
Yes.
Now, if you're caught up in Hong Kong, how do you make sure you're back to Nigeria on that day? So maybe part of that cost is you must have your own plane, or you have to charter a plane.
He actually bought.
Because now you can't depend on where they could cancel a plane at the last minute. You have to have a contingency plan that helps you get there. And a lot of ministers, that's the challenge they do. They want to build something. They want to build a ministry with a certain value, but they are there once in a while. They are attracted to what others are doing, rather than being there and constructing, saying that stone needs to move. That one needs to be, check the plumb line. Is it 90 degrees? That, it is work. It is being there and checking and standing aside and saying, our discipleship is not going right. You cannot do that from a phone call. So it means rolling up your hands and being present and walking through every pace. And that's what I think Oyedepo was doing. And no wonder he was a successful minister in that sense, in the sense that it takes that commitment, being there, shaping people, praying for them, speaking your heart to them, let them buying into your vision, staying there and listening to them, communicating with them. And all that can only be done. And you know, quality is a factor of quantity. So that you can't get the quality when you're not investing the quantity of time. So you have to be there physically to also achieve that.
I like what you've said. Quality is a factor of quantity.
Yes.
Because sometimes we say it's either quality or quantity.
No. You've been a parent, you know. You can't parent by remote. You have to be there. If your son needs to go for football, you can't use a taxi man to do it. You have to be there. You have to put him and take him. Whether you drive, whether you take a matatu, it's a factor of quantity. And the more we move away from that, no wonder we open up doors for mediocrity, because then there's an attrition to it. Other people take it, and they will not take it as the same. You think about it, you have to take your son for football, and you give a taxi man. He doesn't have the same vision you have for your son. So even though he will deliver him to the playground, but he will not deliver him the same way you have delivered him. You'll have prayed for him. You'll have inspired him. You'll have listened to him. You'll have asked him what does he want to achieve.
Yes.
This other guy, it's a job he's doing. He's a hireling. So he just takes him and delivers him.
Fathers, I hope you're hearing this, because that's great leadership or commitment.
Yes.
As fathers. I'm saying that because a lot of times in school meetings, when the school calls for meetings, fathers are absent.
Yes.
It's the mothers who go.
Some years ago, my wife ran a school, and because she's the director of the school, we agreed, she's the director of the school, I'm the father, I'm the parent.
Yes.
So I had to be in every meeting. I cancelled many board meetings to be there on a Saturday, to be there on a weekday, because that's the commitment you have to make as a leader. And that's where your leadership begins.
Yes.
Because if you can't lead at that small level, why do you have the right to lead a big organization? Yeah.
Great challenge.
Thank you.
Great challenge. I mean, so we are talking about clarifying your vision, counting the cost, and commitment, you know, as key things that can help you to stay on course. And there is more to come, even as we continue with this conversation. And so we want to take a short break, 2 minutes break. Within that break, could you write your thoughts about where you struggle in either of these three things that we have just highlighted? Are you the guy who is clarified the vision, or your biggest challenge is you need to clarify vision? Or are you the person who needs to sit down and count the cost? Or are you the kind of person who, based on what you have shared about commitment, you're thinking, maybe that's where my challenge is. See you in a moment, 2 minutes.
Elevate your brand with Elevate TV, a premier media station in the country. We specialize in video production, live coverage, advertising and social media marketing. We do quality production for YouTube videos, podcasts and live events. Transform your vision into reality with creativity and precision. Call us today and elevate your story on 0705 872 237.
Hi ladies, my name is Reverend Lee Wanja. I am so excited to welcome you to the Sister Talk Mentorship Program that will be happening on the 8th of March 2025 at Kenya Cinema, the Apostolic House from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. We are going to be having a great time of the word, of impartation, and our theme is Woman, Purpose, and Excellence. I am so privileged. I'll be speaking alongside Joyce Omondi and Linda Talam. Please make sure you register before then. God bless you.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned and thank you for being here. Even as we continue with this conversation we are having on staying the course. I'm your host, Reverend Albert Shitakwa, and I am delighted to have Kingston Ogango, Regional Director from Alpha Africa, here with us, taking us through this wonderful conversation. And so it's good to see Doreen Eunice here, Ruth Mutambo, saying it's insightful. It's good to see you, Lewis, and everybody else that is watching. That's Facebook. I'll get to see YouTube in a moment. But then thank you for watching, and I want to encourage you to share your thoughts even as we continue with this conversation that we are having here today. And so you talked about clarifying vision,
Yes.
counting the cost,
Yes.
and commitment.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to clarifying vision,
Yes.
I want to ask the very obvious question. Sometimes I've come to learn what's obvious is not really obvious.
Yes.
So, when you talk, how do you clarify vision? What do you need to do? You have a vision,
Yes.
and maybe it's hazy.
Yes.
What do you need to do to get to a place where that vision becomes clear to you?
Yeah. The number of things you could do. One, of course, which is the most important thing. Who gave you the vision? God gave you the vision. Go back to the giver of the vision and get it absolutely clear. What is it that you're getting? Because sometimes we have half bread rather than having the whole loaf. And then we begin to go and call a party when we should have been waiting until we have a full loaf. Secondly, other people have been brought in your life to help you. And getting other people, collaborating with other people is a very important thing. So in part of the staying the course, collaboration is an important part, where others come to support you where you may be. So you may have an idea.
Yes.
You don't know how to frame it. You don't know how to position it. But you have an idea what you want to see. So somebody can come and help you remove the things, the weeds from it,
Yes.
so that you remain with the plants and they become clearer. And so getting other people who God has graced to come and help, and we have many of them in your circles, in other places, who can come here and ask you their questions
Yes.
that help you think, focus, and say, oh yeah, that is now what I wanted, not what I am doing. So that helps you clarify.
So there is a thinking process.
Yes.
There is whether that thinking is by yourself sitting down,
Yes.
or whether it's bringing people who can ask you the questions to
Yes.
bring out that thing.
Yes.
You need to go through that process.
You need to go through that, interrogate, find out whether it is really, because sometimes you have, I don't know, maybe I'm just that kind of person. Sometimes I have many ideas
Yes.
running through my head, and they all look good. But now when you begin to analyze, you find they were just ideas. They don't have the legs to walk.
Yes, yes.
So you begin to shed them away. Or you may find you've started with a cluster of so many things that actually you cannot achieve in that period of time we're looking at. So how then do you begin to say, with the time I have, with the things and the one person I am, this is the one thing that I need to have. But that is also anchored on purpose.
Yeah.
What is the purpose? Why did God put you here?
Yeah.
What does God want you to achieve? What has God called you to do? Because you are called to be a pastor, and you're called to pastor a people. You can't pastor everybody, even though you want to love the world so much.
Yes.
You only have a sphere you can pastor, and that's what God has called you to do. Do it, and do it well.
Yes.
Because that's where the vision is. And even Jesus, when he was being pulled to distractions, he would go and say, the poor are always with us.
Yeah.
He knew he will not be able to touch all of them in that space of
Yes.
time he had. So he had to stay focused on those he had and let the others who are coming after him to do the other work and touch the others. So that clarity, of course, comes from God, comes from help from others through collaboration, and comes from asking expertise. And there's nothing wrong where you're asking others. Moses did it. When Moses, a man, I always say, a humble man,
Yeah.
who faced God day by day.
Yes.
Many of us will wish to hear even God, leave alone see him.
Yes.
Yet he saw God, but God didn't give him that. He allowed him to get Jethro, a priest from Midian, to help him, his father-in-law, to clarify and to put delegation in place. So it also teaches us.
I like that aspect you've said. He's
Yes.
humble enough
Yes.
that although he is the guy in that day
Yes.
who had the what do you call it, of facing or meeting God face to face,
Yes.
he could still listen to a guy who hasn't met God face to face.
Exactly. Because Media was not one of the chosen nations.
Yes.
It was not a God nation.
Yes.
Yet he's the one who gives him the antidote to what he was struggling with. And he helps him delegate into hundreds, into thousands, and move on. And the Bible says, and Moses did everything his father-in-law told him. So he was not there to say, I'm a man who hears God. Now that you've told me, let me go pray about it. He was humble enough to say, well, thank you for the information. I'll apply this because this helps me get to where to. And so even in our journey for a vision, there may be people who may not be the big people along your journey.
Yes.
Think about the story of Naaman. When Naaman is leprous, he
Yes.
goes to the prophet, and the prophet tells him, you go and dip yourself 7 times in the river Jordan.
Yes.
And looks and says, this river is dirtier than where I'm coming from. Who helped him clarify what?
Yes.
The slave girl, who asks him a question. Suppose you are being asked to do something big. Would you have done it? And that is what brings sense to him, because of somebody else to help him. This is a vision. You wanted to get healed.
Yes.
Why has the river become
The problem.
the problem?
Healing is your problem.
Yes. But who helps him? The slave girl. It was not the prophet.
No.
The prophet had given instructions and finished his job. Yes.
Wow. Awesome. So clarify the vision, and then we go to the next one, just trying to maximize or getting as much as possible on these points. Counting the cost.
Yes.
You know, many times when you talk about counting the cost, sometimes people imagine counting the cost implies resources, only money or resources, or counting the cost can be looked at from the perception of, can I do this thing? I don't have enough, so I disqualify myself.
Yes.
So how can you talk about that counting the cost that helps you to stay the course?
Yeah. One person in the Bible that helps me see this clearly is Apostle Paul. He had such clarity of what he wanted to do in his life and in his ministry. And you know, let me read the scripture, Philippians 3, 13 and 14. And he says, one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forward to those things which are ahead, I press towards the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. So Paul had counted the cost. He didn't want anything that was going to pull him back.
No.
He said, I forget everything else. I look towards where I am going. And I have made it, I'm laser focused, I am going where I want to go. Nothing matters. Where I want is nothing but getting to Christ. And you see him repeatedly say that. Even in Corinthians, he says that I came to teach you nothing else except Christ and him crucified. So his focus was clear. He says, I did not come with persuasive words.
No.
That your faith may rest on the wisdom of men. So he kept on focusing on the same thing. Because there were things. And so counting the cost is the same. What is it that you're going to leave behind? Because it's not only what you're going to get to go where you're going. It could be baggage you need to leave behind.
That's part of counting the cost.
Yes. Because you see, that baggage could be sweet. Could be making you comfortable.
Yes.
Could be making you feel familiar. It's a familiar space. But it is where you're saying, if I have to reach where I am going, I have to do this. Another example is the athletes. I always watch the long distance runners. Look at somebody like Kipchoge, a wealthy man. And then you look at the diet he has. He doesn't have a 10-course meal, sausages, bacon. He drinks black tea.
And he can afford it.
Yes, and boiled eggs. Well, me, I'm busy eating pancakes and other things.
And you can be sure he probably grew up in poverty. Or in lack. And these things were things he could have desired in his young age. But now he has to count the cost.
He has to count the cost. He has the money. So he can do what he can do. But because he knows 1 kilo of weight will get him off the goal he has. So he has to count that cost, and he makes sure he puts it aside. And Paul calls it laying aside every weight that easily entangles you. Because counting the cost is also, what is it? Is it friends? Is it people? Is it things? So it's not only the money you need to get there. It could be things you need to drop along your journey so that then you are able to go. So for me, when I think about counting the cost, is that part where you're saying, I have a goal and other things have to stay outside the path and stay in that corridor of, if I have to go, there may be nice things here, but no. Or there could be something I'm leaving, sleep, but I need to achieve a goal. So I wake up and I go.
I remember I read something many years back that to go up, you must give up.
Yes.
There are things you have to
Yes.
give up to
Yes.
go up.
Yes.
So that's part of the counting the cost.
It
You
is.
must say, this is good, but not for me.
Yes. I've read stories of successful CEOs. They're in the office at 5. Yet the guy who serves him comes at 8. And yet you will think, because he's the owner and the CEO, he should come at 9.
He can come late and nobody will ask him anything.
But he has to count the cost. If I have to stay successful, what do I need to do?
Yes.
I have to be early in the office. I have to make a plan of the day. I have to look at my finances. I have to plan ahead of time. What has he denied himself? Sleep. He has denied himself comfort so that he can be able to achieve the goal.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So clarifying vision, counting the cost, and commitment. We have talked about commitment a bit. So we want to pick it up and continue on some of those things that can help us to stay on course, because that's our discussion today.
Yes.
We want to stay on course. We want to get to the destination no matter what. And so how do you get there? How do you stay the course? So you've given us 3. Could you continue giving us more?
I've given you 4 actually. Collaboration is a
Collaboration, yeah.
There's a 5th one we call citizenship. And citizenship actually refers to the fact that you're not only doing something for yourself, but it's for the greater good of many. So as a leader, as you achieve your vision, it should not be to just for selfish gains. How do you better the people around you? How do you better the society that you are living in? How do you live it a better space? And it's that call of being a good, just the way we say, a good citizen.
Yes.
So you must have that same kind of calling where you're saying, if I have to stay the course, I must also be cognizant that if I am not doing certain things, they will distract me. Think about it. You have a wealthy man, you have a big home, but you live among very poor people who are struggling, who have no food.
Yes.
You'll have no peace. They'll come to share what you have, but not because you've given them.
No.
But when you think about the greater good,
Yes.
then you can be able to achieve the goal you want to have. Because then you're also seeing, how do I bring my team together? Because they're part of the big vision I have.
Yes.
So that if I am doing well, are they also doing well? What is the well-being of the others? Are they still staying on? And you know, Jeremiah talks about it. Think about the well-being of the others who are left. Even Nehemiah talks the same.
Yes.
What is the well-being of the others that you have left behind?
Yes.
So that then you as a leader, the vision you have, it will not be achieved in isolation and will not be achieved alone. It will be achieved when you also look at the bigger good of bringing everybody on board, helping them have a share in your vision.
Yes.
See that this is where I want us to go. Think about the church you're building.
Yes.
You can be great. You can be the greatest preacher. You can be the greatest planner. You can be the greatest prayer warrior. But you can't do everything.
Oh, yeah.
You need others to come. But they must share in the vision. They must come and be part and committed to the same vision that you are trying to achieve. So having that a sense of citizenship helps you ensure that everybody is coming on board and everybody and your vision is being achieved. Even an athlete who is running,
Yes.
the long distance runners, they have pace setters. The pace setter must have the same vision
Yeah.
as the athlete. Because if the pace setter has a different vision, will either slow you down or speed you up and work you down to the point where you can't win the race. But because the pace setter has the same, so they know your work is to help that these other people don't win.
Yes.
Either we are running fast to wear them down, or we are slowing them to confuse them, but keeping the eyes on the goal. Yes.
I love that. I think, you know, it's an interesting way to look at staying the course.
Yes.
Thinking about citizenship, thinking about the greater good, thinking about commonwealth,
Yes.
others.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that's an amazing way. It helps you to stay on course. One, of course, because you have other people who share in the vision and they can help you, but also you have, the greater good is a motivation enough to keep on the course.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's, when we're thinking about all these things, there must be always how, when you're going on that journey, the direction of travel must also be informed by others. You build allies along the way. Even Jesus on his mission, he pauses at some point and says, what do others say I am? It is scanning the environment and seeing that, am I still on course? And so as you stay on course, what are the things that help you also check? We talked about a pit stop.
Yes.
And you know, like in a rally, what is a pit stop for? To change oil, to either change tires or add pressure, to fix the exhaust pipe that could be loose, to fix the light that could have been misaligned. And every time in your journey of the vision, is there a pit stop, a place where you stop to also evaluate where I'm coming from? Have I traveled properly? Are there things that I need to change? And so that, we call it a corrective course. That in your journey, that pit stop is a place for correcting, where you're correcting, adjusting.
So the question, what do people say I am?
Yes.
Is kind of, feeling the pulse.
Yes, because you may be thinking,
you are with people and you don't.
And people don't even understand what you're doing. And so also journeying that space, staying the course, that corrective space is very important, where you stop and calibrate, check that you're still in the true north. Is the compass still pointing the same way? You calibrate your journey, you correct anything that may have gone wrong, add pressure to yourself, change oil, make sure that your windscreen is clear.
Yes.
So that in the journey, never forget to have that corrective space where you calibrate and go to the end point clearly, because you may run and realize you missed some points. You missed a few steps, like the one who runs the steeplechase on the hurdles. Maybe you missed 4 hurdles, and you are celebrating at the end, and then say, you didn't do it properly. You skipped 3.
You broke the rules.
So being able to do that helps you realize, wow, there's something I need to do. And that you need to do periodically, so that you don't run too far away, and then you realize going back will not work. So you need to do it periodically.
And when you talk about that pit stop,
yes,
you see, like that rally, I can see when they do that pit stop, they are very quick in what they are doing.
Exactly.
It tells me they know what to check.
Yes.
They know what to check. And so when it comes to that, just hearing how you've spoken about it, it tells me then it's critical to know the right questions to ask.
Exactly. So the right questions, the right time to, because remember, that's not the destination.
Yes.
So don't camp.
Don't camp there.
No. It's a pit stop.
Yes.
It's a place for corrective calibration. So you have the right question, because the person, when the rally car stops, the one doing tires does not do the exhaust.
No.
The one doing the windscreen
Yes.
is not concerned about your fuel. Everybody focuses on what is going to make sure this rally car is out in 1 minute.
Yes.
And so it's the same way, having the right question, who in the journey are going to make sure, are going to help you stay on course with the quickest time possible, without now helping you build camp and begin to settle there, because that's not your destination.
Yes.
It was just part of the journey. When you're traveling a long distance and you stay overnight, you don't decide, now I like this air, let me just sit here a little bit. You move on to the next point.
So learn to ask the right questions, and also learn to check who can be able to help you in what.
Yes.
You know. Apostle Patrick Murithi Nyaga, thank you for watching. That's my co-host, you know, saying following keenly and learning, thinking process, powerful. Philip Billy saying that's a powerful. So thank you so much for your, you know, encouragement. Even as we get to wind up this conversation today on staying the course. So, is there anything in addition to maybe the points you just raised about what can help you stay the course? Is there anything there, or do we begin to flip it the other way?
I think what is important at the point of correction, there are two things you're correcting. You're calibrating your compass, but also ensuring you're not now carrying new baggage you picked along the way. Yeah? You know, as the athlete runs, he
Yes.
picks a bottle of water.
Yes.
You now don't stay with a bottle of water. And you've seen what they do. They take a sip and throw it.
Yes.
Because they'll pick another one as they go. And sometimes in the direction of travel, what happens is we keep picking things, and rather than dropping them, we stay with them. So they begin to weigh us down, while we should have actually been just using them to refuel and
Yes.
dropping it.
Yes.
It's an energizer. Don't carry the energizer. There's another one ahead. So making sure, don't keep the things that you're picking on the way. Leave them behind. Remember where you are going, and remember the cause that you are traveling, so that then you don't carry baggage now that begins to weigh you down and distracts you completely. Because it will detour you, it will derail you, it will ensure that now you're not going to where you are going, because now you begin to focus on many other things rather than checking the direction you're going. Yeah.
All right. So as we get to wrap up on this conversation about staying the course, how important is it to, you talked about you've got to be clear about your destination, where you're going.
Yes.
As a leader, I could be clear.
Yeah.
And of course, there is that thing. I think every leader must take people through the value of ownership,
Yes.
owning the vision,
Yeah.
and that value of cost.
Yeah.
So how often
Yeah.
do you need to clarify the vision to the people?
So the last point, which is important,
Yes.
what you said, is communication. So you can have a good vision, but you must communicate and continuously communicate, because also in communication, normally noise comes in. Other things that begin to speak louder than what you wanted to say.
Yes.
So keeping the communication lean, but keeping it repeated. So the more you talk to your team about your vision, the more they understand it, the more they clarify it. So never imagine because you said it once that they understand it.
No.
Keep repeating it. Keep communicating. Keep communicating, listening and talking about it, because communication will be the thread that will continuously ensure that you're hearing them and they're listening to what you're saying. But if you don't, you may assume you have people. They are with you physically, but they have traveled a very different job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Clarify your vision, count the cost, commitment, collaboration, what was the other one?
Citizenship.
Citizenship and communication. Easy to remember, C's. I think there are how many?
Six.
5 or 6? 6.
Six,
That you can remember on helping you to stay the course. That's been very insightful, enlightening conversation concerning how you can stay the course in order to finish strong as a leader. And by the way, the threat on you getting to your destination, the distractions are many, the threat is real. There are so many things that can stand in the way. And so we really need this conversation to help us stay on course in order for us to be able to finish strong. And so thank you so much, Kingston.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
It's been a joy, always a joy. You know, you are a wealth, a reservoir of knowledge. You know, you have a wealth of revelation information, and we are grateful to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. It's been great to have you join us on this show. See you next week, same time, same place.